Hi, this is 𝗘𝗍𝗃, and welcome to Thundertown. Alright, so episode 17, this is the second half of the Circus Maximus, and here we're going to start on some of the rocks and dirt. So I'm bringing over some of these big, 𝗘𝗿𝗀𝘀 gray flame rocks that I use around the rest of the valley. I'm just sort of building up all the way around this area, because it is built up a little higher than the rest of the area here. I'm just rotating these things around, getting them in here, and I'm going to come back and smooth this all out just a little bit. There's the road going up towards the Circus Maximus, the arena. Here's the smoothing. We got to get this all leveled out up here and push this back a little along the bottom edge, make it look all nice and neat. Nice and neat and dirty. So these are those little tiny rocks that I put along the top and the bottom. So it looks like a lot of rocks have broken off and fallen down. Something I really enjoy doing is the rock edges here throughout the valley. I'm not sure if you're going to see me come back and put the plants in or not. I do come back and eventually put all the little brush and bushes and sticks of trees. So here's one of this dirt decal. I just love this exact dirt decal, so I use it all over the place. So first thing I do is the outside, then I go in here and go right around the racetrack. Take a quick run around here, or a quick circle around to see everything that I've done to this point. So now I'm working on these VIP areas. I took the mausoleum down off the tops of both ends and put it in here. And I'm going to have a little path going down inside from there. And here's a Paris arch that I 𝗘𝗍𝗀𝗀ed, and I got rid of a lot of little bits off of it. So it needs more Flair. So mainly the Flair is these flags. There's like lots of little flags. So I put those flags up on top, and then I got these little banners. They're like, I don't know, I guess they would represent the families or the factions of the town, and each would represent like different gladiatorial families, the ones that race the chariots, I guess. But I wanted to have some some color in here, since the majority of the color is concrete. So now I'm going to be working on the pathways here. So I wanted to have paths going throughout. You saw me, I think, put some paths in earlier that go along the in here, but I'm not 100% certain that there's actually any paths in here yet. So I'm starting with this really high path where it goes all the way around the top. I was having a little trouble grabbing a hold of it because I hadn't turned on paths. I had turned on other network, so it was kind of hard to get a hold of. So now that I've got this up in here, I'm bringing it along the top all the way around from that little doorway there all the way to the front doorway. I think it's like a roof access prop. So I just copied this over, rotating, pulling it around so that it goes all the way around here. I just left this in here for now. Eventually I'll come back and replace this with an invisible path. So now I'm bringing it in for the lower and the sort of middle tier pathways. I'm using the Electrix's road tools here to add more nodes to the network. I'm trying to get the nodes evened up with all of these paths that are going to be going between the lower and the middle tier pathways. And you can see I put some doors along those pillars, and there'll be paths that go down to the lower area through those doors. Once I have all of the people sort of walking around in here, then I'll come back and add the people in the seats, in the bleachers. What I really wanted is a lot of pathways through here so that the pathfinding AI could actually, move along all of these different pathways, or would possibly choose all these different pathways. Right here, I'm adding a little block and a doorway. The whole point of that is inside each of those big, rectangular areas on the back, there's going to be a lot of commercial and other cubes underneath there that would attract people from the town to go there. Here I'm putting in more of these doors along each of these pillars. Well, here we go, doing the paths that go up and, from the lower to the middle tier now. In that area, I had originally put in some of these surfaces that are they're called pedestrian surfaces or something like that. I had them all in there, and I eventually took them all out. It makes it easier to put props and stuff at a higher level. Here I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the paths so that they can then come down and go underneath. So they'll act like hidden staircases inside these big concrete pillars. I wasn't quite happy with what I had built there. So we're just working on it all again. So I put this path down at the bottom here, or this road down at the bottom, so that when you draw the path to the road, it'll actually fully connect. So I do come back and put a little ground level path on the end of these so that, you can just pull it right up next to a road. And here I'm bringing the roads in. They're going to go underneath each side of the arena. They finally go in through these concrete sides over here, where I eventually come back and put big doors. More of those train doors that are just black, so that it looks like they're disappearing underneath the arena. And this is ultimately the way you get people to move around and make the place look alive, is to have these paths going around. Or I accidentally grabbed a fence there. Alright, so this is the one that goes into the upper area here and comes down inside the cube. And underneath each of those VIP areas, where the path goes down inside, there's going to be I think a basketball game cube again, the basketball arena cube that I used underneath the Thunderdome. And now here I just turned off the POs that are part of the arena. And you can see I'm playing around with all of these paths now, trying to get them connected down to the roads. Sometimes I forget to do the little ground level path at the end. And it doesn't always connect. Sometimes, the raised path will sometimes connect when you bring it down to the road like that. And here I am just filling in tons of cubes. There's going to end up being a ton of houses under here as well. You know, house blocks, along with these, you know, service blocks, and there's like a police department under here and fire and everything else that you might possibly want underneath there. In order to have any of these working, you know, you have to have your road along here. Oh, here's all the people putting in lots and lots of high and low residential cubes. Okay, now we're back with the arena, and you start seeing people. See them all streaming out of there? They're the people who are attending basketball games in different areas. And depending on where the basketball game was at the time, they'll either use the top or the middle level. And here I am tweaking because there was certain areas I didn't see people on, so I'm just going to tweak these underneath here a little bit. I mean, there's probably even school cubes underneath here just to get people moving around. I can't remember all of what I put underneath here. I think there's also like trash services and things like that. I mean, something of this size, you know, kind of giant arena of this size, you would think there'd be quite a bit going on under here. So some of these weren't properly connected. So I'm coming in here and I'm taking some of them out and re-adding them to get it nice and, you know, working. So here's all those spots where it comes down through those concrete pillars. So I'm adding a lot of these, and then they're going to go underneath and go back towards the middle so that everybody is sort of funneled. If they decided to go down through these to the down below areas, they're going to go down to the road area at the bottom. I believe there's a highway road in there somewhere where there's no way to walk out from underneath without going out the paths. So that also sort of forces the people to walk on the pathways, the raised pathways, and then walk down to the road underneath, you know, via these paths to get to their houses. And then when they want to leave, they got to go back up, walk along a path to the end where it then exits the arena on the outer edges. It's sort of just a really tricky way to make people move all over the place and see them moving about. Because they will walk quite a distance. I mean, to be fair, this is not a great distance. It is pretty big, but it's no bigger than, say, 2 football stadiums or 2 baseball arena, you know, stadiums from the actual base game. It doesn't take up much more space than that. All right, so we got all our paths in and we can see some people walking around on them again. So the railings, so the very top here, I didn't want to just leave it, you know, so that people could fall off, right? You know, it's got to have a little bit of a safety measure at the very top. So I've got this raisable fence that I've used in a bunch of other places that it looks pretty good. It does kind of fit the theme of a, you know, post-apocalyptic world, because it's not exactly a, you know, a perfect, you know, bright, you know, looking fence. It's just this dark railing. We could use a few more raisable railings and fences on the workshop, I think. So again, using the Electrics mod to add nodes here. There's another newer mod on the workshop that I've started using in my more recent build that allows you to add and delete nodes the same as the Electrix road tools. But it has a lot of other cool built-in features. Such as being able to slope and see the slopes and things like that. I'll try to come back and put a little thing on the screen of that new mod that does what the Electrix mod did. Although you can still use the Electrix mod. It does pretty much everything, and if you're using Move It, you can still use Move It to do your slopes and things like that. So now I got it done on one side, so I have to copy it over and do the other side here. And overall, there's not a lot of problems because this is at really low height. So I'm not having a lot of problems lining up everything and having everything stay at the same level. Sometimes when I'm working on a different build that I currently have going, that you'll be seeing soon on this channel, I find that when I have everything raised up really high, that it doesn't always, especially if you're using like key walls and you're raising your dirt up to a certain level, it doesn't always come in there and just put the node at the height that you would think it would put it at. For some reason the game thinks that the height is is different than what it really looks like on screen. So here I'm doing another railing around this upper level. There are no paths that go up to this upper level though. Send in the fans. Here we go. Finally starting to fill in the bleachers. You're not going to see it on screen, but I did eventually come back in and use some of those raisable parks that were seat sites, places for the people to come in and sit. So I did put those in, probably at the end of this build, after what you see the final version of this build. I did come back in and put some in here. So it does act more like the Thunderdome, where people will pop up and sit on some of these seats. So it isn't always the exact same people, There's some variation to it from time to time. And I do have quite a few of these prop people. I think I have every single prop person that's on the workshop, except for a few of the sci-fi ones that I didn't include. So there I actually was bringing in some security to have some security by the doorways. It's like while I was going through this, I saw some of the security people and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to need some security in here as well. So the next thing I thought, I need to copy this over, but I don't want it to be every single area with the same, so I'm doing it every other. Which kind of gives me the ability to mix it up a little bit. So now I'm kind of grabbing some of these sections and raising, just chunks of people to create a whole new look for an area, and bringing this around the entire arena. Then we've got some of these odd-shaped areas, so I go in and just grab bits in pieces from the different areas. And then in these smaller areas that are on the ends over here, I'll be doing some work there too. So I'm just bringing some people in at the same height, height level, so it's easy. I don't have to be manipulating them up and down. Just getting that filled in. So here, this is where I just grabbed like a smaller section, a little bit here to fill this in. We get a left side and a right side from one of these areas and sort of just flip them around a little bit. There we go, a nice full arena. And here's how the valley looks right now. get a really good look of everything. So the final touches. So now I'm going to go through here, put all the final touches in. I have these little doorways. I thought, well, it's an arena. Why don't we just have doors on every little archway at the bottom down here? I know that doesn't exactly make sense, but big rusty doors in here really looked really pretty cool. Oh, there I go. I switched the sun around a little bit so it's easier to see the doors. You can see here I already came back and put in did some detail work on the center area off screen and added these lights at the very top. Like the arena lights. So here I'm just grabbing those gates that I put in at the Thunderdome that you didn't see me do because that was off screen. So these are just some big fence gates that, they were actually really small, and I stretched them to make them really tall. I'm doing them on the inside and outside here. No real reason. I just thought it looked pretty cool, and now I'm adding the extra 2 horses to each of these chariots. I thought for chariot racing it might make sense to have more horses on these chariots rather than the ones that you see in the Thunderdome for the gladiators, fighting lions or fighting, criminals or whatever they're fighting in there. So I brought in one of these little banners. It's like the emperor's banner. And then I noticed in some of the the art that I saw that I took inspiration from, they have like a start-finish line. So I came in here, I found this red line decal and brought this in. Now I'm just going in and sort of griming and grunging it up, putting cracks in the dirt and stuff like that all around. You see some of the dirt here actually, the decals are slightly off. Eventually I go through and I readjust them or put more dirt in. Then I got these lines, these dirt lines, and so I thought I'd put them all the way around here to make it look like like the chariots, and the chariot wheels have been putting in grooves. And here you can see on the outside I've put in a bunch of buildings, sort of to finish it off. All right, here's the cinematic. Sit back and relax. Next episode is the series finale. Unfortunately, my save file was lost along with the game and everything else on a hard drive that I had major issues with and was not able to recover it. I also did not have a save in the cloud that was up to date. So I'm gonna unfortunately have to finish the series right here. So next episode, we're going to take a look at pretty much all parts of the town that you can see here in this shot. And do a little look back And I'm going to show you some behind-the-scenes stuff that I didn't show, such as that casino at the very top. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you'll like and subscribe, and we'll see you again soon.